Shabbat Shalom, everybody, and welcome. We're so glad to see you all. You may know Rabbi had to be out of town for this Shabbat, so you get me. I'm Beth Wilson. I'm the chair of the Religious Practices Committee, but I have a lot of help tonight also. So we welcome everybody, and those of you who are online also. We start off, our opening song will be led by Claire Moran. I think you're going to lead us in Hine Matov.
Yes. How good and pleasant it is to be together. Page 10. Hine matov u'manayim, shevet achim gam yachad. Hine matov u'manayim, shevet achim gam yachad. Hine matov, shevet achim gam yachad. Hine matov, shevet achim gam yachad. Hine matov u'manayim, shevet achim gam yachad. Hine matov u'manayim, shevet achim gam yachad.
And now Debbie Rossler will light our Shabbat candles.
As these Shabbat candles give light to all who behold them, so may we, by our lives, give light to all who behold us, as their brightness reminds us of the generations of Israel who have kindled light, so may we in our own day be among those who kindle light.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Blessed are you, Adonai our God, sovereign of the universe, who hallows us with mitzvot, commanding us to kindle the light of Shabbat.
And now it's time for Shabbat Simchas. We will go around, and anyone who has something good that happened to you in the last week that you can say in one sentence, we would love to have you share that. Trish.
So just earlier this evening, I got a chance to see my kids and grandkids, Deborah and Aaron grandkids, the kids with their kids, and have Shabbat dinner at a Chinese restaurant, which is, but anyway.
Trish got to see some of her kids and her grandkids, and they had Chinese for Shabbat dinner. Debbie.
I just got back from an extended vacation with my family in Chicago with my mother and brother and his family, and we had a really nice time.
Except for the first time in decades, we did not have Chinese on Christmas.
Thank you, Dan. Debbie was back east, I gather, with Dan, and had good time visiting with family. Anybody else?
This was the previous week, but we visited Sam, and we got to do a behind-the-scenes encounter at the Sea Lion Cove at Fresno Chaffee Zoo.
Where was this?
So Sam works for Fresno Chaffee Zoo, and one of his fellow
Zookeepers, yes. No.
Arranged a behind-the-scenes tour of Sea Lion Cove, so
Ah,
they'll be able to see the trainers and tour on the thing.
so they went down to see their friend, their son Sam, who works at the, I didn't get the name of it, but I know it's in the zoo in Fresno. And I got a behind-the-scenes look at that. So, good. Did we get anything online, Jason? Valerie.
I have two, if I may. The first one is my daughter. I gave her, my daughter Emma, I gave her my coat that I got as a graduation present from my grandmother when I graduated college. And she had it in her closet for many years, and she wore it this week and sent me a picture, and she looks spectacular. Beautiful red coat over here right there.
So this was your grandmother's coat?
It was my coat that my grandmother bought for me.
Okay, your grandmother bought you the coat, and then your daughter Emma wore it, and of course she looked wonderful in it. So an heirloom. And that was one.
And the second is, I just found out that my niece is pregnant with twins.
Oh, and Valerie's niece is pregnant with twins, so. And thank you. Well, a week full of simchas, it sounds like. Wow, that's great. We move on our service now to page 8, and Bill Moran will read.
I begin with a prayer of gratitude for all that is holy in my life. God needs no words, no English or Hebrew, no semantics and no services, but I need them. Through prayer, I can sense my inner strength, my inner purpose, my inner joy, my capacity to love. As I reach upward in prayer, I sense these qualities in my Creator. To love God is to love each other, to work to make our lives better. To love God is to love the world God created and work to perfect it. To love God is to love dreams of peace and joy that illuminate all of us, and to bring that vision to life.
We turn now to page 26 for Hatzi Kaddish. Seeing as how we don't have any 6th or 7th graders, sing along with me. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, v'yalma divrach irutei v'yamlich malchutei, v'chayechon v'yomechon, uv'chayei dechol beit Yisrael, bagala, bagala, uvizman kariv v'imru, amen. Yehesh me Rabba mevorach, le'olam olol me amaya, yitbarach, yitbarach, v'yishtabach, v'yitpa'ar, v'yitromam, v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar, v'yitalel, v'litalal, shemei d'chudisha b'richu, le'elamin kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, da'amiran be'alma, v'imeru, amen. Lai, la, lai, 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 lai. Lai, la, lai, 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 lai. Lai, la, lai, 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 lai. Lai, la, lai, 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 lai. Lai, la, lai, 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 lai. Lai, la, lai, 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 lai. Baruch hu et Adonai, Hamavot. You may be seated. And we turn to page 30 and recite together. Thank you. She knows I'm just getting over a cold and my voice isn't as strong as it usually is. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bidvaro ma'ariv aravim, b'chochma potech sh'arim, uvitvuna meshane itim, umahalif et hazmanim, umasader kochavim, b'mishmerotehem barakia kirtsono, bore yom v'layla, golel or mipnei choshech, v'choshech mipnei or, Uma'avir yom umevi laila, umavdil bein yom uvein laila, Adonai tzvaot shemo, El chai v'kayam tamid yimloch aleinu leolam va'ed, Baruch atah Adonai, Riv Aravim. And on page 32 in the English, we read together, Everlasting love you offered your people Israel, by teaching us Torah and mitzvot, laws and precepts. Therefore, Adonai our God, when we lie down and when we rise up, we will meditate on your laws and your commandments. We will rejoice in your Torah forever. Day and night we will reflect on them, for they are our life, and doing them reflect our days. Never remove your love from us. Praise to you, Adonai, who loves your people Israel. Baruch atah Adonai, Ohev Amo Yisrael. And on to the next page, we join together in the Shema. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Baruch Shem, Kevod Malchuto, Le'olam Va'ed, Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha, B'chol levavcha v'chol nafshecha, u'v'chol me'odecha, v'hayu hadvarim ha'ele, asher Anochi mitzavecha, hayom al vavecha, v'shinantam levanecha, v'dibarta bam, v'shivtecha b'veitecha, uvlechtecha v'derech, uv'shochbecha uv'kumecha, ukshartam le'ot al yadecha, v'hayu l'totafot beinenecha, uktavtam al mezuzot beitecha, uv'isharecha, leman tizkaru va'asitem zotai item kadoshim lelohechem, ani Adonai Elohechem, asher hotzeiti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim liot lachem lelohim, ani Adonai Elohechem. And we turn to page 39 as Valerie Jonas will lead us in prayer.
Standing on the parted shores of history, we still believe what we were taught before ever we stood at Sinai's foot, that wherever we go, it is eternally Egypt, that there is a better place, a promised land, that the winding way to that promise passes through the wilderness, that there is no way to get from here to there except by joining hands, marching together.
And Liz Suffet will be reading now for a while.
You're going to help me, right?
You mean I can't go sit down?
On page 43, at the top of the page, let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Adonai, help us to walk with good companions, to live with hope in our hearts and eternity in our thoughts, that we may lie down in peace and rise up waiting to do your will. Baruch atah Adonai, haporei sukkot shalom aleinu ve'al imo Yisrael ve'al Yerushalayim. And then on the next page, you want to try to sing this? or-
Sure. I do better when I'm in my head voice. Vishamru.
Yes. Vishamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam barit olam. Vishamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam barit olam. Beini ubein b'nei Yisrael oti leolam, oti leolam. V'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam barit olam. Ki shesh yamim asa Adonai et shamayim ve'et ha'aretz. V'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam barit olam. Uvayom hashvi'i Shabbat vayinafash, Shabbat vayinafash, Shabbat vayinafash. V'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam barit olam. And then we rise for the Amidah. Adonai, Sephatai Tiftach, Ufi Amita Dilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips, that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, Eloheinu v'imoteinu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzhak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Ha'gadol, Ha'gibor Ha'nara, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, V'konei Rakol, V'zocher Chasdei Avot V'imahot, U'meid Gula Livnei B'lechem, L'ma'an Shemo Be'ahava, Melech Hazer Moshiach U'magin, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham, Ezrat Sarah. Atah Gibor Le'olam Adonai, Mekayeh HaKol atah Rav Lehoshia, Marishiv HaRuach U'morid HaGashem, Melchakel Chaim Bechesed, Mechayeh HaKol Berachamim Rabim, Somek Noflim Berofei Cholim, U'matir Asurim, U'mekayem Emunato, Lishenei Afar, Micha Mocha Bal Gevurot, U'mido Melech, Melech Memi, U'mekayem, U'matzmiya Yeshua, V'ne'eman atah l'hachayot hakol,
Baruch atah Adonai, Mechaye HaKol. Atah kadosh v'shimcha kadosh, u'kadoshim b'chol yom yhalalu chasela. Baruch atah Adonai, Ha'el HaKadosh. Please be seated.
You want to take a break?
And I just wanted to note for those of us who are in Torah study, because I see we have several of us here, there's the word Selah, which we keep running across in our recent Torah study sessions. They don't know what it means. Nobody knows what it means. So anybody who appears to have told you what it means, they're taking a guess.
On page 55, sorry, 55, at the top of the page. May these hours of rest and renewal open our hearts to joy and our minds to truth. May all who struggle find rest on this day. May all who suffer find solace. May all who hurt find healing on this day. May all who despair find purpose. May all who hunger find fulfillment on this day, and may this day fulfill its promise. Baruch atah Adonai, Mekadesh HaShabbat. And on page 57, again, at top middle, top 1/3. Ever-present one, may we, your people Israel, be worthy in our deeds and our prayer, wherever we live, wherever we seek you, in this land, in Zion restored, in all lands. You are a God whom alone we serve in reverence. Baruch atah Adonai, she'odcha l'dvaka nira la'avot. And page 58 in the middle of the page in English. We acknowledge with thanks that you are our Adonai, our God, and the God of our ancestors forever. You are the rock of our lives and the shield of our salvation in every generation. Let us thank you and praise you for our lives which are in your hand, which are for our souls which are in your care, for your miracles that which we experience every day, and for your wondrous deeds and favors at every time of day, evening, morning, and noon. O good one whose mercies never end, O compassionate one whose kindness never fails, we forever put our hope in you. For all these things, O sovereign, let your name be forever praised and blessed. O God, our Redeemer and Helper, let all who live affirm you and praise your name in truth. Blessed are you, Adonai. Your name is goodness, and you are worthy of thanksgiving. Baruch atah Adonai, hatov shimcha ucha lahodot.
And we turn to page 60 and join together in Shalom Rav. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Le'olam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Le'olam. Ki atahu melech adon lechol hashalom. Ki atahu melech adon lechol hashalom. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tazim Le'olam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tazim Le'olam. Le'olam. Thank you, Claire. We now have silent prayer on page 62 or whatever is in your own heart. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu ya'as Yaseh Shalom Aleinu, Ve'al Kol Yisrael, V'imru, V'imru, Amen. Yaseh Shalom, Yaseh Shalom, Shalom Aleinu, Ve'al Kol Yisrael, Yaseh Shalom, Yaseh Shalom, Shalom Aleinu, Ve'al Kol Yisrael. And now we have our sermon this evening will be given by Trish Monroe. I want to thank all of the people who have been so helpful in leading our service. And so Trish. Oh, I do need that. See, things do disappear. It's not here. Okay. Okay. You okay?
Yeah,
Unless you want to do the whole thing.
no, it's okay. Well, I feel weird not doing it.
Okay, well,
Shall I?
go ahead.
All right. Oh, it's not in here. It's not on here. What was that? I'm looking for this. No, I'm not. Okay, apparently it's not here. I don't care. We're going to actually insert, because we usually do it this time, Misha Berach, which is on page, you stole a book. Thank you. May I steal your book back? I'll read it. I'll give it to you, don't worry. All right, page 253. So this time in the service, our thoughts turn to those who are in need of healing in body and spirit of some kind. So as my hand passes over from your left to my right, to your, we're going to start on that side, move this way. If there's somebody that you're asking for healing for, please say. Yeah. Sorry.
Ian Thomas.
And anyone online? Okay. So we, in the middle of the page, Misheberach Avotenu Mekor HaBracha Limotenu. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Misheberach imotenu Mekor HaBracha Lavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen. All right, now I can do this. So for anyone who doesn't know, I'm Trish Monroe, been around for a while, done some of this stuff before. Not this particular portion from this particular way. So this week's portion is Vayigash. It is the third of 4 Torah portions that are part of the Joseph narrative. And it's not the only complete story. Jacob's is pretty complete, but it's really it's a complete story in and of itself. It is, I've heard it called the first real, not quite novel, it's not quite long enough, but it's complete. And so in this drash, I'm going to jump back and forth a little bit. This is the third of the four, but it begins, so Vayigash, it began 2 weeks ago, though, in Vayeshev, and that's when Joseph's brothers sell him into slavery, along with his Technicolor Dreamcoat and all those wild dreams that go with them. The sale, by the way, is Judah's idea, although it's an alternative to killing Joseph outright. Now, there's a little bit of a digression here. We talk about B'nai Israel, the children of Israel, as sort of one unit, but they are really not. They're the children of 4 women. Each has a specific place in the family. And as those of us who are parents and grandparents know, every child's unique, even with the same parents. So what I'm curious, as we're thinking about this beginning part of Judah's journey, really, how would you have negotiated, for example, with the violent Simeon and Levi, who have already demonstrated a willingness to slaughter others? And then in next week's Parsha, Jacob even condemns his children, saying, Simeon and Levi are a pair, their weapons are tools of lawlessness. Let not my person be included in their council. Let not my being be counted in their assembly. For when angry, they slay a man, and when pleased, they maim an ox. That's not my main point, but it's worth keeping in mind that Ben Gvir and Shimon's and Levi's have always been part of B'nai Yisrael. End of digression. Most of the story continues through Joseph's initial travails in Egypt through the end of his very successful life. In Vayigash, it opens with Joseph, now second only to Pharaoh, revealing himself to his brothers and forgiving them for their actions of so many years before. But in order for that forgiveness to happen, Joseph needs to know whether they've changed. Based on the blessings or reflections of Jacob at the end, the answer is, of course, mixed. So this parsha begins as Joseph accuses Benjamin of stealing the goblet. It's found in Benjamin's sack of grain. It's planted there by Joseph himself. This is part of the test. Joseph threatens to keep Benjamin in slavery. It's a test to see if those brothers, at least one of them, who have so apparently casually sold him to the Egyptians, will act differently. Again, maybe casual, maybe not. There's a bunch of stuff happening there. But it's at this point, in this portion, that Judah steps up. He has, in last week's portion, convinced his father to allow this precious child of his old age to go with his brothers on this journey. And he's done that with conviction and humility. And now, to Joseph, he offers himself instead of Benjamin. This is when, of course, Joseph reveals himself and the brothers reconcile. I want to go back to Judah's change, because in this story that's so much about, it's even called the Joseph cycle, you lose track of who else changes. And Judah's change is quite remarkable. And it begins sometime before with events in his own family, and that is with his behavior towards Tamar. And this is where I think that you have to look at the story as a whole, because the story of Tamar takes place 2 weeks ago, right after Joseph is sold into, actually right after he's given to Potiphar. He's sold into slavery, they sell him to Potiphar. Scene changes back to Judah. The story of Tamar is very definitely not PG. Judah's son marries Tamar. Judah's son Er, marries Tamar, Canaanite woman. He sins in some undisclosed way. He dies. The laws of Levirate marriage say, okay, your brother needs to take over. Onan is his brother. Onan declines to act as appropriately. He's killed by God. God's very much not happy. That was the end. Judah's got a third son, Shalach. He blames Tamar for his 2 sons' deaths, and he worries that, 2, I've got one left. He may die too. Delays the marriage. In the meantime, Tamar is stuck waiting for a husband. Shalak gets older, nothing, not a clue, but she's not a dummy. Many years alone, she's got nothing to lose. Judah is a widower, and Tamar takes action. She veils herself, sits by the road, offers herself to Judah as a temple prostitute. He's left his wallet behind, but he does have, I mean, it said so. He leaves the equivalent of his driver's license, which is his seal, his cord, and his staff. The next day, Judah returns with the cash. She's gone. Never been there. Nobody's ever seen her. Nobody's been there. 3 months go by. Word reaches Judah that, lo and behold, Tamar is pregnant. Well, that was definitely not an okay thing. She was supposed to marry Shalach someday. She'd been waiting, but this is adultery. Not okay. At which point, Tamar says, hey, see this? Do you recognize this maybe? It's your seal. See that? Oh, that's your staff. At which point, and this is actually the whole point of this. Tamar says, I'm pregnant by the person to whom these objects belong. He says, you know what? She's more righteous than I am. They marry, and in due course, Tamar gives birth to Zerach and Perez. Well, Perez is an ancestor of Boaz, and Boaz marries Ruth. It is from Boaz and Ruth that eventually comes David. This is no small lesson in where the Jewish people come from, and I think it's important. So Tamar is seriously badass. I mean, she really is. But I want to focus on Judah's transformation. The late Rabbi Jonathan Sachs of blessed memory writes that this moment is a turning point in history. Judah is the first person in Torah to explicitly admit that he was wrong. This is a big deal. We've had reconciliations before. We've had maybe yes, maybe no. But this moment, he says, I was wrong. He makes up for what he's done. We do not realize it yet, Rabbi Sachs goes on. But this seems to be the moment at which he acquired the depth of character necessary for him, the brother who proposed selling Joseph as a slave, to become the man willing to spend the rest of his life in slavery so that his brother Benjamin can go free. This is a heck of a change. Now, I just want to go back to where they are, this birth order. Judah is Leah's fourth son. He's younger than the weak Reuben, the violent Simeon and Levi. For him to mature and take on the role of negotiating with his father, controlling his brothers, apologizing to Tamar and then his brother Joseph, shows an ability to learn and to grow and to change that can only happen over time and through hard, bitter experience. That ability is one worth emulating. Shabbat Shalom.
Thank you, Trish. And now we have our announcements, and it's a reprise.
Announcements. Shabbat Shalom. I'm Liz Suffet. For anyone who doesn't know me, I'm currently chair of the Israel and Adult Education Committee. Thank you, Beth, for leading us in worship. Thank you, Trish, for your Devar and the other folks who have helped out. Thank you, Jason, as our tech mensch tonight. Thank you, Eileen Veland, for our oneg. If anyone wishes to host an oneg coming up, contact Bonnie in the office to observe a yard site or a simcha of some kind, or just because it's nice to have nosh after services. Torah study tomorrow morning at 9 a.m., followed by morning services. Tomorrow is the first Saturday of the month, and that is when we have been having Torah service, so please come. We need a minyan, and we want to be able to read Torah and Haftarah and all that other good stuff. Upcoming events, excuse me, a week from
Tomorrow, on the 11th, we're doing a game night and Havdalah right here. Bring a board game that's easy to teach and share, maybe a snack to share. There's usually been a good turnout and a lot of fun. Religious school starts on January 12th. There's also a teen planning meeting for their creative services, so looking forward to that. The CBEAT classes, the teen classes for post-B'nai Mitzvah will also start on January 12th. They're split into 2 sessions, both of which sound interesting. It's kind of those things where you wish you were both ages. Choir rehearsals start on January 16th, Thursday nights, in preparation for Shabbat Shalom. Please come and join. No experience is necessary. A willingness to chime in with your voice is all that's needed. Please contact Rabbi Milder if you're interested. Other upcoming events, Women's Rosh Chodesh, January 29th, which is a experience in learning some journaling, I believe. Campership scholarships applications are due February 1st for those interested in getting some help to send their kid to Jewish camp this summer. And some advanced planning, look ahead to March 1st, Saturday, March 1st. Mark it on your calendars, be here or be square. Dan Nichols will be in concert, and it should be a marvelous evening. Shabbat Shalom.
Thank you. We turn now in our prayer books to page 282, and we rise for the Aleinu on the bottom half of the page. Aleinu l'shabeach la'adon ha'kol, latet gedula liotzer breshit, shelo asanu kagoyei ha'aratzot, velo samanu kamishpachot ha'adama, shelo sam chelkenu kahem, v'gor aleinu kechol hamonam, va'anachnu korim, umishtachavim umodim, Lifnei melech malchei hamlachim, hakadosh baruch hu. Shehu noteh shamayim veyosed aretz, umoshav yikaro b'shamayim ima'al, ushchina tuzo, b'govei meromim, hu Eloheinu ein od. Ebit malkeinu efesulato, kakatu vetorato, viadata hayom vehashim, v'altevota alevavecha, ki Adonai hu ha-Elohim, b'shamayim imal, ve'al ha'aretz, mitachat ein od. Page 28. Emar v'haya Adonai lemelech al kol haaretz bayom hahu yi Adonai echad u'shemo echad. May be seated. We remember those who we have lost in our congregation and their loved ones. Our thoughts turn to those who have departed this earth, our own loved ones, those whom our friends and neighbors have lost, the martyrs of our people whose graves are unmarked, and those of every race and nation whose lives have been a blessing to humanity. As we remember them, we meditate on the meaning of love and loss, of life and death. This week, we remember, and please rise, recent deaths is Barbara Ellis, mother of Janet Ellis Milder. With Shloshim is the 30 days within our loss. Howard Scott, husband of Liz Suffett and father of Sam and Hannah Scott. And Kendra Silberman, daughter of David Silberman and sister of Caitlin Silberman. For those within the first year of mourning, please rise. And the people whose yahrzeit is this week, we have John Ball, Leonard Bratman, Howard Cohen, Rachel Fremed, Oscar Gertner, Samuel Gladstone, Lena Mayer Loeb, Yosef Murad, Dorothy Nyman, Dave Siegel, Hannah Stern, Steve Phelan, Benjamin Henry Weil, and Hart Wilson. We join together as one congregation in their memory. Yit Gadal v'yit Kadash Shemei Rabbah, ve'alma divra chirute v'yamlich malchute, v'chayechon uv'yomechon, uv'chaye dechol Beit Yisrael, v'agala uv'izman kariv imiru, Amen. Yehi Shemei Rabbah Mavarach, l'olam olomei almaya. Yit barach v'yish tabach v'yit ba'ar v'yit romam v'yit naseh v'yit adar v'yit adleh v'yit alal shemei dekudusha b'richu la'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tush b'chata v'nechamata da'amiran be'alma v'miru, Amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shemaya v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'miru, Amen. Oseh shalom b'imromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, v'miru, Amen. You may be seated, and Claire will lead us in our closing song.
Page 322 of the prayer book, Ein Keloheno. Ein Kelohenu, Ein Kadonenu, Ein Kemalkenu, Ein Kemoshienu, Mi Kelohenu, Mi Kadonenu, Mi Kemalkenu, Mi Kemoshienu, Nodel Eloheinu, Nodel Adonenu, Nodel Malkeinu, Nodel Moshienu, Baruch Eloheinu, Baruch Eloheinu, Baruch Malkeinu, Baruch Moshienu, Atahu Eloheinu, Atahu Adonenu, Atahu Malkeinu, Atahu Moshienu.
Shabbat Shalom, everybody. Please join us in the back of the room for our blessings and some oneg, our delightful desserts. And the red cups are wine, the white cups are grape juice for our kiddush.